Hello everybody, it's me Charlotte, and today I want to teach you guys everything I know about knits and purls. You can ask yourself, well, what really is there to know about knits and purls? Well, there's a lot of things, especially if you're a beginner. Not only how to make a knit stitch or how to make a purl stitch, but how do you tell the difference? There's a lot of questions about, 2x2 ribbing, the seed stitch, just how do you know the difference when you're working along when it says, knit the knits and purl the purls? Well, how can you tell? Well, in this video, I'm going to do my absolute best to show you and tell you and teach you everything I know about knits and purls and ribbing and seed stitch and how to tell the difference. So this video may be long. It may be boring. So if you're not interested and you already know everything there is to know about knits and purls, then you don't have to watch this video. But if you would like to know everything I know about knits and purls, stick around. It might be interesting. You might learn something. It might be horrible. Won't know. Before we get into it though, real quick, I want to say thank you for everyone who has subscribed to my channel. Thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. It really does mean everything to me when you guys take time out of your day to watch one of my videos or take the time to hit the like button or even leave me a comment. It really does mean a lot. So thank you, and thank you. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. And if you'd like to follow me on Facebook, that link will be in the description below. All right, everything I know about knits and purls. Let's just get started. Here I've done a few rows of just garter stitch. And garter stitch is just knitting each row over and over and over again. You knit, 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 knit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and knit this row, and I'm sure a lot of you know what a knit stitch is. You just insert your right needle into that stitch, wrap your yarn, bring it up, slide that stitch off your left needle. So I'm just going to go ahead and knit this whole row, and we're going to go and we're going to see exactly what does a knit stitch look like on both sides. And the reason I say that is because they look different on whatever side you're looking at. Now, I've just knit this row. So this row here is going to look like knit stitches. If you can see, if you pull your work apart, you can see they're just knit stitches. But if we turn our work over, they look like purl stitches because I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, the purl bump, and that's the purl bump right there. It's like it's wrapped around the base of that stitch. There's like a little wrap around the base of that stitch. But on this side, the side we just knit, there is no wrap around the base of the stitch when you pull it apart. Can you see that? I hope my lighting is good enough. I'm really working hard to get better lighting, guys. But on this side, they look like purl stitches. You pull your work apart and you can see right at the base of that stitch, there's like a little wrap. That's how you know that this was the side you knit and this is your opposite side. So when it says knit your knits and purl your purls, what they refer to is, let me show you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a 2x2 ribbing. So we're going to knit 2 and we're going to purl 2. Bring our working yarn in front. Insert our right needle into the front of that next stitch, wrap it counterclockwise, pull off that stitch. So we're going to do 2x2 ribbing. So we're going to knit 2 and purl 2. And we're going to knit our last 2. Okay, so the question is now, when you turn your work, if you want to do 2x2 ribbing, what do you start with, knits or purls? Well, the answer is looking right in front of you. If you remember, here's our purl bumps. If you pull our stitch down, you can see at the base of this stitch, there's a wrap. The base of these two stitches, there are no wraps. So those are going to be our knit stitches. On the opposite side, they were our purl stitches. On this side, they look like knit stitches. So when it says knit the knits and purl the purls, that's what you're going to do. The first two are purl stitches. Even though on this side they were knit stitches, on this side they look like purl stitches. So we're going to purl these first two because they have the purl bump at the base of the stitch. So you want to make sure your working yarn is in the front. Take your needle, right needle, insert it into the front of that stitch, and you're going to purl those first two because they had purl bumps. Now this is if you want to do a 2x2 ribbing. Put our working yarn back in the back, and now our next two, you can see there's no wraps at the base of the stitch, so we're going to knit those two because those look like knit stitches. These next two look like purl stitches, so we're going to take our working yarn, put it in the front, and purl those two. Working yarn back in the back because our next two stitches are knit stitches. They look like knit stitches. There's no wraps at the base of those stitches. So we're going to knit those two. And finally at our end, we have two stitches left, and they look like they're wrapped at the very base, so we know those are purl stitches. So we're going to purl those two. Okay, so now if we turn our work, we're going to see that the first two stitches don't have wraps at the base. These next two stitches do. So these first two stitches are going to be knit because they look like knit stitches. Remember, knit stitches don't have the wrap at the base. Purl stitches do. They have what people call the purl bump. So those are the wraps at the base of the stitch. You can kind of see the difference. If my camera would focus clearly, which it probably will not. I'm sorry guys. I promise you I'm working really hard to try to get a better camera, better lighting, better setup so you guys can really see what I'm doing. But as you can see, we have two knit stitches, two purl stitches, two knit stitches, two purl stitches, and two knit stitches. Now, we can go ahead and continue on with that pattern. We're going to knit the knits. So we knit the knit stitches that look like knit stitches. And we purl the purl stitches because they have the bump. So you purl the purl stitches. Now this is if you're doing 2x2 ribbing or 3x3 ribbing or 1x1 ribbing. Whatever ribbing you're doing, you just want to make sure that you knit the knits and purl the purls. I think a lot of time we overthink it. We think, well, you know, we knit those last two on the last round, so do we knit those two again on this round? No, not if you're doing ribbing. You want to knit the knits and purl the purls. The next two, the beginning two, have the wraps at the base of the stitch. So those are going to be purl stitches. Now let's say you want to do a seed stitch. Seed stitch is complete opposite. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just do a whole row of knit stitches just to kind of start us out fresh and new. And when you start out with seed stitch, it's almost like you're going to knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and so on until you're done, till the end of your round or row. So what I've done is I've went ahead and I knit the whole row. Now we're going to start our seed stitch, which is going to be, you're going to knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one. Told you this video might be long and boring to those of you who already know what you're doing, but the only way to learn what everyone else knows is by showing people. So what I've done is I've knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. Now here's where seed stitch is completely different than a 2x2 ribbing or a 1x1 ribbing, because in the ribbing you want to knit the knits and purl the purls. Well, in seed stitch you want to purl the knits and knit the purls. I will show you what I mean. This first stitch here, as you can see, is going to be, a knit stitch, because it doesn't have a wrap at the base of the stitch like the one next to it does. So what you want to do is you want to purl the knit. So we're going to place our yarn in front and purl our knit stitches, and knit our purl stitches. This has the purl bump or the wrap at the base of the stitch, so we're going to knit it. This is seed stitch. We're going to purl our knit stitches and knit our purl stitches. Say that slow and try to really comprehend what that means. You're going to do the complete opposite. You're going to look at the stitch. This stitch right here is a purl stitch. It has that wrap at the base. You're going to knit it. The purl stitches get knit. The knit stitches get purled. That's going to be seed stitch, and you're going to do that for all the stitches. For as many rows as you want of seed stitch, you're just going to purl the knits and knit the purls. And you want to continue that, like I said, for as many rows as you need the seed stitch to be. Here we can look, we now are going to start with a purl stitch. Well, this is a purl stitch, so we're going to knit it. Like I said, we knit the purls and purl the knits. Now that is seed stitch. And if you can just get into the rhythm, you know it's one by one, you're going to purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. As long as you start off correctly and you just keep that purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, or knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl rhythm in your head, you won't really have to look at your stitches to know what comes next. But if you have to put your work down, you're going to need to know what comes next. So that is the seed stitch, and you can start to see it coming together. So we've gone over the 2x2 ribbing, how to notice knit stitch from a purl stitch. When you're doing the ribbing, you want to knit the knits and purl the purls. And when you do seed stitch, you want to knit the purls and purl the knits. It's complete opposite. It doesn't really matter so much. You don't want to remember what you did on this side when you're going to turn your work. So I just finished this row. I did my row the way I was supposed to. I'm going to turn my work, and you're going to say to yourself, I'm not going to pay any attention to what I did over here. I'm only going to look at the work that's on my needle now, and I can see if I'm working the seed stitch, I have a knit stitch first because it's not wrapped at the base like this one. So I know that if I'm doing seed stitch, I'm going to purl my knit stitches and knit my purl stitches. So you would start out with a purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and so on. Now if you're doing 2x2 ribbing, you want to, we'll pretend we're doing some ribbing here. This is a knit stitch, this is a purl stitch. You can see it's wrapped at the base. This one is not. So if you're doing ribbing, remember, you want to knit the knits and purl the purls. Knit the knits, purl the purls. That's how you do the ribbing. Again, it does matter what you do over here, but once you turn that work, just read what your needle is telling you. Your needle is going to tell you what comes next or what you need to do, depending on what stitch you're doing. So that's how you tell the difference between knits and purls and ribbing and seed stitch. I hope this helped out a little bit. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does mean a lot to me. If you'd like to leave me a comment, please feel free to. Just say hi, or your video was horrible or your video was great. Either way. If you don't like this video, and I've had a few videos where people give it a thumbs down, and that's fine. I mean, I've not liked every single video I've watched. Just let me know why, or how I can improve, or what you didn't like about the video so I can improve it next time. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, that link will be in the description below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so now. My channel is still very new. It's only a few months old, and I plan on doing a lot more exciting things. It's not all going to be knitting related. It's not all going to be crocheting related or craft related. I'm a very diverse person. I have many interests, many hobbies, and I think I'm just going to bring it all into one channel. So you're really never going to know what you're going to see on my videos. So if you would like to stick around and see what's up next, please don't forget to subscribe. So until next time, guys, I hope you all have a super wonderful, fabulous day, and happy knitting. Bye.